Monita Rajpal. Welcome to this special edition of Art of Life, our entire program dedicated to the fashion designer Tom Ford. Here on Madison Avenue, his new store housing the Tom Ford menswear line, his first fashion offering since leaving Gucci and Yves Saint Laurent in 2004. A decade as the Gucci Group's creative director, he became the brand. Confident, sensual, desirable, qualities reflected in the clothes he designed. But failed negotiations with the parent company, PPR, meant he had to leave the house he'd resurrected. Shortly afterwards, his swan song from Yves Saint Laurent, his days with the Gucci Group officially over.
I grew so much in the 15 years I was at Gucci. Working at Saint Laurent was also something I learned an enormous amount about how to construct women's clothes. It was very different than my experience at Gucci. I always knew how to make clothes. I knew how to cut and drape and sew myself. Not very well, but I can certainly do it. But I learned a lot from Saint Laurent, from my 4 years working with those wonderful ateliers where people really do still make things by hand. And I learned a lot because of the fact that the whole thing fell apart and I was no longer going to be happy in the company, and I decided to leave. So, as I said to you earlier, it really might have been the prelude and prepared me for what will now be my own company, Tom Ford.
I do love this.
I love this suit as well.
And with his own company, the return of the dynamic duo, or the Tom and Dom show, as it was known in fashion circles. Back in the days of Gucci, Vice Chairman Tom Ford and Chairman Domenico De Sole enjoyed a close working relationship, taking Gucci from near bankruptcy to a $10 billion empire. Their current partnership, the Tom Ford menswear line.
A lot of fashion brands are very trendy. I was a little bit younger when I was first at Gucci, and I think I did quite a few collections that pushed fashion, men's fashion, in a certain direction. But I was a little too old to wear those things. The quality from a lot of our competitors wasn't up to my standard. So then I started having all of my clothes made in London, where I lived part of the time on Savile Row. And that was a very dry experience. There was really the need for something that I don't think's ever existed for men before, which is a cross between a Savile Row tailor and a fashion company.
So how then would you define a luxury brand in this day and age?
I think that most brands today that are called luxury brands are not really true luxury brands. In the 90s, and I have to say we were partially responsible for this trend at Gucci, we made luxury quite accessible. And the globalization of fashion and of luxury in the 90s, because of the globalization of everything, you now find the same luxury brands in every city. The stores look the same, it's all the same, the product is the same. What I'm trying to do now, at this stage in my life and at this stage in my business, is bring back the notion of true luxury, which is really creating the very best thing you can possibly have.